Good morning, students. In our previous video, we have done with part 1 of the lesson 3 questions written by Leo Tolstoy. Before we go to part 2, let us revise part 1. In part 1, we come across the king who had 3 questions in his mind and he wanted to know the answer for those 3 questions. And he thought that if he knew the answer for those 3 questions, he would be successful or he would never fail in his life. So he had sent messengers throughout the kingdom and also promised a reward of huge amount of money to anyone who answers his 3 questions. And finally, so many wise people came to his kingdom and they have given their valuable suggestions or they have given the answer for those 3 questions. But all those answers were different. And also the king was not at all satisfied with those answers. So finally, the king thought that he will visit a wise hermit and he will seek the advice from him. So he went to a wise hermit who stays in the forest. And the wise hermit only looked people who are ordinary. So this king wore ordinary dress or he disguised himself in an ordinary clothes and went to the hermit's hut. And the hermit at that time he was digging the ground and he was making beds. So he went to him and he asked his 3 questions. He did not get any sort of reply. So he took the spade from hermit's hand and he started digging it. And he was going on doing the work. And in between he asked again the questions for which he did not get any sort of reply from hermit. So finally he wanted to know whether this hermit is going to give the answers or not, that he asked the hermit. So to that, immediately without giving any reply for that, hermit says that, see, someone is coming towards his hut. So now let us see what happens and who is that man who came to hermit's hut in part 2. Now we'll open to page number 10. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. So here we come across the difficult word fainted. The meaning of it is lost consciousness. So here, when the hermit said that someone was coming running towards the hut at that time, the king turned back to see who was it. So it was the bearded man. He was pressing his stomach and from which the blood was coming out. Okay, and when he reached the king at that time, he fell down. He fainted, and the king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. So they have removed the chest and they found that a big wound was there in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. Here redressed means dressed again. So what did this king do? Both of them have removed the clothing and the king has taken his handkerchief and he cleaned the wound. So he cleaned and dressed the wound till the blood stopped flowing. And the man felt better and asked for something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. So when the blood stopped bleeding at that time, the bearded man, he was feeling a little bit better and he asked for something to drink. So immediately fresh water was given by the king to the bearded man. By this time the sun had set and the air was cool. So by that time it was dawn and it was very cool also. The king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. So both the king and the hermit, both of them, they laid this wounded man or the bearded man on the bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. Quiet means silently. So the man, who is that man? The bearded man who got hurt. So he was lying on the bed and silently he closed his eyes and he slept. The king, tired by his walk and the work he had done, lay down on the floor and slept through the night. So the king, from morning onwards, he walked to the hut. Then later he did lot of work in the hermit's hut and finally he helped this wounded man. So with that he was very tired and he also lay down there and he slept. When he awoke, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was and who the strange bearded man lying on the bed was. So when the king got up, it took for him some time to recollect where he was. Okay. Forgive me, said the bearded man in a weak voice. when he saw that the king was awake. So when the king woke up, at that time the beard man, he saw the king and he said, "Forgive me, king. Okay, I don't know you and have nothing to forgive you for," said the king. So the king, he did not expect forgive from that beard man. So the beard man says, "Forgive me, king." So why did he say that? We'll see the remaining part. So he says, "I don't know you." So I don't know you, who said? It is the king who says that I don't know you, and why are you asking me to forgive you? You don't know me, but I know you. I am the enemy of yours who swore revenge on you because you put my brother to death and seized my property. Here, seized means took by force. So here, the beard man says that you don't know me, but I know you. Because why do I know is because you have put my brother to death and also you have taken our property very forcefully. And I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. So he also says that I know that. The beard man says that I know you. I know that you have gone to hermit's house all alone. Okay, and I thought that I will kill you. So I have made up my mind to kill you. Made up my mind means decided. I have decided to kill you the way when you are going home. But the day passed and you did not return. So I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard, who recognized me and wounded me. So I was waiting for you. I thought that when you are going back to your house, I will kill you. But I came upon the bodyguard. Your bodyguard had seen me and he had wounded me. And I escaped from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. So he says that I have escaped from the death. So how he escaped from the death? It was the king who had helped him by dressing his wound again and again. Now, I wish to kill you and you have saved my life. So here the beard man or the wounded man, he says that I had a wish to kill you. I wanted to kill you. With that I have came. But I was wounded by your bodyguard. But what you have done, instead of letting me like that, you have saved my life. Now, if I live, I will serve you and your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me. So now he says, please forgive me. So it is, the life is only because of you. You have given me the another life to me. So I will serve you. Not only me, even my children also will serve you. The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily and to have won him over as a friend. So now the king felt very happy that he had made a peace with his enemy. So that beard man was an enemy to him, but this king doesn't know about it, but he was an enemy. So he felt very happy that he made peace with him. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him, and he promised to give back the man his property. So what did the king do here? He forgave that particular beard man, and also he promised that his doctor will come to him to serve, and he also promised to give the property which has been taken by him. Leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked round for the hermit. So he left that wounded man there in that room and he came out to find out where that hermit was. Before going away, he wished once more to get answers to his questions. So he wanted to know the answers for his questions. Now he wanted to go to his kingdom back. So before going, he thought that let me ask the hermit once again that whether he will get the answers for his questions or not. The hermit was on his knees sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, "For the last time, I beg you to answer my questions, wise man." So what was the hermit doing here? Again, he was sowing seeds on the beds for which the beds were done the previous day. And the king, once again, he went to him and he asked, "So I wanted to know the answer for my 3 questions. Okay, so and he says that for the last time I'm asking you, so please tell me the answer for my 3 questions. Then now the hermit says, "You have already been answered," said the hermit, still bending down to the ground and looking up at the king as he stood before him. So what he said, this hermit, so you have already got the answer for your 3 questions. So did he get the answer? We'll see whether how he had got the answers. How have I been answered? What do you mean? So here the king says, So how the answers, how did I get the answers? So what do you mean by this? Do you not see, replied the hermit, if you had not pitied my weakness yesterday and had not dug these beds for me, you would have gone away. So now the first thing the hermit says that, do you not see, replied the hermit, if you had not pitied means taken pity on me. So when the when the king came to hermit's hut, at that time, the king had a pity on the hermit that he was very old and weak and he was digging the earth. So he took pity on him and he took the spade and he started digging it. Okay. And if he would not have shown pity on the hermit, he would have returned to his kingdom back. Then that man would have attacked you and you would have wished you had stayed with me. Okay, so if he did not dig the ground or did not prepare beds in the hermit's hut there on the ground, then he would have gone to his kingdom. So if the king had gone from the hermit's hut, then this beard man who was waiting to kill the king would have killed him. Okay, and you would have wished you had stayed with me. So, and also after cleaning the wound of that beard man, this king wished to stay back in the hermit's hut. Okay. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds. So here, what is the important time? What is the first question actually? What is the right time to begin something? So here he says that, so the most important time is that when you were digging the beds. And I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. So here for the second question, which people should he listen to? Here he had listened to the hermit and he showed pity on him. And what is the most important business for him? So he had done something good to the hermit. And I was the most, he says that I was the most important person. So who is that I? Hermit. And to do me good was your most important business. Here business means work. So here the king's most important business was to do something good to the hermit. So what good he had done? He had dug the ground. Afterwards, when the man ran to us, so when the man came, that beard man ran to them. The most important time was when you were caring for him, because if you had not dressed his wound, he would have died without having made peace with you. So, and also he says that what is the most important time? Most important time is that you have dressed the wound of that beard man who was badly hurt. So when you have dressed his wound, okay, and if you would not have dressed his wound, what would happen? He would have died. So if that beard man had died, he would not have made peace with this king. Okay, and so he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important business. So here important man, here in this particular situation, who is the important man? It is the beard man was the important man, and whatever he had done, taken care for this beard man was the important business or the important work. Remember then, there is only one time that is important, and that time is now. So what the hermit says again is that you have to remember that there is only one time which is important. What is that one time? The moment, present moment. Now it is very important. It is the most important time because it is the only time we have power, we have any power to act. So he says that this particular time only we have the power to act. So that is the most important time. The most necessary person. So that is answer for the first question. Then for the second one, the most important person is the person you are with at a particular moment, for no one knows what will happen in the future and whether we will meet anyone else. So moment refers to time. So what is the who is the most important person? So person with whom you are talking or to whom you meet, he is the most important person, because we don't know what will happen in the future, whether you are going to meet him or not. So with whomever you are talking, he or she is the most important person. Then the most important business is to do that person good, because we were sent into this world for that purpose alone. So what is the third question here? What is the most important thing for him to do it? So for anyone, the most important thing is to do good to a person with whom you are talking, and the God had sent everyone to this world to do good to the people. So for that purpose we have come alone into this world. What do you think is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that we should live in the present moment rather than grumbling over the past and being anxious about the future. And we ought to consider every person we meet in the moment are significant, whether they are rich or poor. Is it clear, children? Thank you.